well, thanks again for listening to us. We've been gone a week, but we are Super BS. My name is Jim.
I'm also Jim.
I'm also Jim Donna.
Jim, Donna, Derek, Merrick.
The third.
The third. So anyways, we got some games we want to talk about and some news, but we're going to go through that pretty quick. What have you been playing this last couple weeks, Josh?
I, believe it or not, I actually went out and bought a PlayStation.
To play Halo Wars 2.
Play Halo Wars 2. You thought, oh man, you can't get enough Halo Wars 2, so...
I played Uncharted 4, which is really, really great.
Have you played Uncharted 4?
I played Uncharted. I played the other ones, and
Okay.
I wanted to play the new one, but I just didn't want to go out and drop the money on a PlayStation.
I don't want to get too far into it, but what do you think of 3, though? I liked 2, I didn't care for 3.
I didn't care for 3 too much either. It felt too busy. Not enough storytelling and just too much.
And the gunplay was never like... I feel like Uncharted and Gears of War are like weird games where like... Gears of War story is okay, but mechanically it's a blast to play. Uncharted's story is great, but mechanically it's okay. Like, it's not bad. It's just not like super
You
great.
get stuck to a lot of things, in the gunfights, and then you end up pressing a button and ending up running into the other,
and then dying.
yeah, or you it doesn't register that you're trying to leap off of something, and then you end up just falling to your death.
Outside of sports and racing games, Uncharted might be the most unappealing franchise to me that exists.
You should give it a shot.
We'll never give it a shot.
Okay.
How come?
Because it just looks dumb to me. I don't think it looks like a bad made game. I know Naughty Dog is a capable designer, but aesthetically, I'm not a huge Indiana Jones fan. I like Indiana Jones, and I like the first Mummy with Brendan Fraser, but otherwise...
Well, that's the game we need.
I hate archaeology type Mayan ruin stories, except for Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it comes down to for me, is that Tomb Raider is definitely better.
Well, Tomb Raider is a very similar game. I like a lot of things about Tomb Raider, where Tomb Raider is a lot more open. Uncharted is a very linear game.
Yeah.
But they do stuff.
But it's more like nothing about it looks interesting to me, so why would I waste the time on it? And that's not a judgment that this is a bad game.
Yeah,
it's like a beloved series. It's obviously like a beloved franchise, but to me, it looks as dumb as a racing game or a sports game, which I also hate. So.
Yeah,
right. It's a personal.
It's definitely some subjective thing. But I played up to the part where you're Africa or something like that. Did you get that far? You're in a Jeep.
In Uncharted 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I enjoyed it up to there, but I do get kind of sick of the mechanics. I'm gonna climb. It's fun, it's cool, it's beautiful to look at, but I don't think I'm ever gonna be able to finish the whole game.
See, I have this thing where when it comes if a game has a really good story, I have OCD, where even if I hate the gameplay, I have to finish it because I need to know what happens.
Well, speaking of great stories, you had another game you've been playing this week, right? Something recent. The only recent game we're gonna talk about.
I've been playing Mass Effect. Have you guys had a chance?
I played 30 minutes through EA Access. That's not true. I played 30 minutes of multiplayer, which was really enjoyable. It's building on 3, I think better mechanically than 3 even. And then I played 30 minutes of the story, which was, it's okay.
It's alright, I mean, it doesn't bother me. And the whole thing where everyone is saying, oh, the facial animations are bad, it doesn't bother me. I would the way that it was being described, I was expecting Minecraft faces. It was to that point. I mean, I don't think that...
I don't know how you expect Minecraft faces.
No, I know, but they were just describing it so poorly. But I see it, and there's parts where the mouth movements don't match what they're actually saying. But at the same time, it's why does that bother you? You stare at their faces literally for maybe in a cutscene you'll see it for 30 seconds, and then that's it.
Yeah.
My only complaint that I ever saw someone complaining, but my personal complaint was that I just thought the female writer that they used looked like Pixar. So it was
it was weird,
not in a bad way, because obviously Pixar is great, but it felt like that kind of cartoony style human being, her face looked weird.
Yeah.
And they're trying to go for realistic, so...
I've actually heard a funny complaint with her, because she always has a half smirk on, so I guess there are moments in the story where bad things happen. She'd be like, oh, really? And they never fix the face to reflect what's going on. So
she looks like the Braces girl in Finding Nemo.
I can totally see that. I can totally see that. But real quick, before we move on from Mass Effect, what do you think of the story that you've seen and mechanically? What do you think? From what I understand, it's fairly bloated. Derek and I, aka Donna, have been doing some sweet talking about that overbloated overworld stuff, man. And I'm just curious what you think.
Yeah, right now I'm about 5 hours in, and I haven't even started the second mission yet.
Yeah, you bone anyone yet?
No, see, that's another thing I want to talk about. There is way too many options for like romance on the ship. You have to be careful who you're talking to, because you could end up like you get hit on anybody, like literally anybody on the ship. Like you could form.
That's like Inquisition.
Yeah, well, I think there are more romance options than this. I read there were like 12.
Yeah.
So I think Inquisition has like 6 or 7, which is still a good amount.
No, it has maybe 6 or 7,
But there's more non-party members in Andromeda that you can romance.
There's only 2.
There's only 6.
There's 3 in Inquisition that are non-party members.
Yeah, because there are only 6 party members, if I know about Andromeda.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, they're all okay. None of them are like.
Well, I mean, you have your biotic and your military specialist.
How do you like the ability to build out any way you want?
It's almost overwhelming. There's too much to do. Like too many ways you can shape your character. Like I thought that Elder Scrolls was bad in like the way the options they give you with your little like smithing charts and whatnot, but there's so many different ways you can shape your character in Mass
Yeah, but
Effect.
see, Elder Scrolls, that's the only thing about that game that's complicated. Everything else is just like, go.
Exactly.
And Elder Scrolls also does something super excellent where you build your character by doing those things.
Yeah.
Like, Andromeda still follows, to my knowledge, an experience system. You gain experience from doing stuff, you get points from leveling, you put those points in. It's not that it's bad.
There's also, you have to level up your other characters, and you also have to pick like who you want to wake up from cryo sleep. Like there's so many like charts and stuff that you have to fill out.
Spoiler!
Yeah, spoiler, but it's just, maybe I'm not far enough into it yet, but like it's kind of overwhelming right now, because I just like want to sit down and play it, and I like it so far, but I hope that I can play it without spending 80 hours of my life.
Well, speaking of overwhelming, we have a ton of overwhelming amount of news, and I still want to talk about what we've been playing. I've been playing not a lot, so I don't have a lot to say, just Breath of the Wild, Zelda. It is amazing, it's great. I don't know if it's perfect, like every reviewer said, it's a game, has flaws, but it's a joy. Like I was playing it last night.
It's a Joy-Con.
It's a Joy-Con. We can talk about Switch a little bit in the news, but there's just so much cool stuff in there where you're rewarded for almost everything you do. You climb a mountain, there's something up at the top more likely. Every single thing that you see has something cool. I heard somebody describe it as like in Elder Scrolls and Skyrim, you're going through these big open spaces to get to cities or to get to this or to do that. A lot of times in Breath of the Wild, because there's only a handful like little villages, towns that you'll see, I'll just go in a direction to find stuff. Because there's always going to be like a shrine or a mini dungeon or like a seed that you need to get to increase something, or there's always something to give you for doing stuff. And I'm almost at the end. I've done all the main story plot points, and I can go and like fight the last boss. But I think I'm gonna keep playing till I get like really, really sick of it, till it's like, oh, I don't want to look for this anymore.
So if you were gonna start the game and then only play through the story, how long would it take you to beat it?
If you just did the story?
Yeah.
Wow, man. Well, I mean, you can just go for the last boss and beat it in 50 minutes like the top speedrunner did. But I would assume if you actually just mainlined and didn't walk around, just because you need to find it. So unless you've actually played the game before, it would probably still take you 12, 15, 20 hours.
Is there an ending that's like specific to literally walking to the boss and beating it?
I don't know. I haven't like looked. One of the things I've been trying to stay away from is spoilers. I have done some cheating just because of limited time, where it's like I haven't like solved every single puzzle in the world by itself, because there are some puzzles where it's like, hey, we need you to figure out a secret club entry. I'm like, I don't want to go around in town looking into books to try to find this, because I'd love to do that, but that's like requires time.
You're thinking of Majora's Mask. It's just those annoying kids. I think it's like 5, 4, 2, 1, 3 or something.
That's it. But anyways, Donna, I could talk about all day. The thing I miss the most, I think, is the music. But when you do get those sprinkled in themes, it's some of the coolest music ever. Like even maybe after we're done with this, I wanted to show you a scene from it that's like
that reminds me of pretty much one of the other weird things about open world games. Because it's something we were talking about with Final Fantasy 15, where there's incredible music that almost never cues, and then when it finally cues, you encounter monsters and it goes away.
Yeah.
And so you never get a chance to listen to the songs develop.
Yeah.
So it's like I remember once in 15, this one song that I had only heard 10 seconds of because it builds really slowly, and then every time it finally started queuing, I think it was in the second area, a monster would appear and it would like go away. I just paused it and listened to it for like 5 minutes so I could actually hear what this song was. It made me really bummed because, and I get it, in Dragon Age Inquisition does the same thing. There's like barely any music. And
during cutscenes, there's some cool. That's where they introduce the themes.
But you never like the wilderness music. There's like random epic moments, and then they just disappear. You're just running around. It makes me miss like Xenoblade. I thought felt very open world in a lot of ways, but they just had like regional music. So if you were in a certain area, just a certain theme song was playing pretty much the whole time. So you got to like know it, which is great, and that's like one of my favorite things. So I wish that open world games would buck away from that trend of having almost no music. Especially the fantastical ones. I almost like it in like Tomb Raider. Yeah. Where it's like, intense.
Yeah, and they'll have ambient music when it's slow and intense. And then I still love the music that is like developed for it, where it's like, the cutscene music is always pretty good, the themes. But I think it's hard for the open world because they want to give you that dynamic music. So you never really get to hear like a cool, like in the original JRPGs we grew up playing, like you have that section, has this cool theme. Yeah. It's like, oh, you could do that, but you're going to be in that section for hours, maybe. Like that theme is going to become like...
There is a cool dungeon theme in 15 that seems to play nonstop.
Oh, I think I know what you want to do. And I think that's the thing about it, but we probably should start talking about what you've been playing, Donna.
I'm still overwhelmed with Dragon Age Inquisition.
Overwhelming games.
I'm pretty close to... I left it on like pause once, so like you turn off your Xbox and leave it on.
Yeah.
And so my hours are more bloated than they are, but I think I'm probably at like 100 hours of like actual gameplay at this point.
Yeah.
I think I'm running out of non-DLC things to do.
Okay. You did the DLC?
No, I haven't.
Oh, that's the thing. You mean you're running out of things that aren't DLC?
I'm gonna play the DLC probably post-game.
Okay.
Because I'm only a couple missions away from the end.
You did the Winter Ball?
I did.
Okay,
I didn't love it.
I mean, I like the idea of it, but it does kind of get old. You have to do that fighting section.
If the game was literally half as long, I would be very invested in like, oh my gosh, this is this weird mission where I've got to like talk to people and everyone's trying to kill each other and everyone's like, blackmail people, and the whole intrigue of it was cool. But getting there at hour 80 and then having to like be like, okay, if I don't talk to this person before this bell rings, then I won't get a good ending. And you just like, you start to hate that kind of... This is the problem with a game that has so much reactivity, and that's what's making me really happy to continue playing Torment, which I am playing, because the game is not that long. So...
You mean Torment, right?
Yeah, so I will replay Torment, definitely, especially once they release. I'll probably finish it in the next month, and then I'll probably wait for them to put out the next batch of content that they're going to do for it, because it's all going to be free.
Okay.
And then I'll replay it, and it'll be a totally different thing, because you can't keep all your party members, you can't like do all the quest lines, like there's a whole bunch of reactivity to it. So, but it's not that long. So it like makes you want to go back. But when it's like I remember playing through Dragon Age Origins twice, and that was long. But when the game is like over 100 hours, and there's all these different pathways you can take, or even just in Inquisition how there's like, you choose the mages versus the Templars at the beginning, or in like the midway point of the game. Yeah. It's like, cool moment. I spent 40 hours getting to that, and then another 50 hours like beating the game after that. Like, I'm never ever gonna go back and play the Templar side because the game is too long.
Yeah, too much. Yeah.
But you've been playing some RPG stuff.
But Torment still, Inquisition still, and then I started playing Super Mario 3D World.
The Wii U.
The Wii U, because
a lot of people rated it up there with some of the top Mario games.
Yeah, I've had it for years. I wasn't that into it when I first got it. I think something we were talking about and have talked about over the years is that we were expecting it to be just a console version
of Super Mario 3D
Land on 3DS, which is possibly the best Mario game ever.
It is really great, yeah.
Because it takes Mario 64, it takes New Super Mario Brothers, it takes Mario Galaxy, and like rolls it all into one amazing game.
Yeah, it's bite-sized chunks too. You can beat a level in 2 minutes because they have a timer, and then you can find all your. It's awesome.
Yeah, there's secrets, there's replayability, there's unlockables. Super Mario 3D World is not the same game. It's a cool game, but the whole game is meant to be multiplayer. So it's got this weird camera.
How do you play a multiplayer Mario game?
It's just everyone's on the screen at once.
Oh, okay.
It's not like, don't imagine Super Mario 64. Imagine like New Super Mario Brothers, but in 3D.
Oh.
So
like
and not literally 3D like 3D vision, but like it's like not
world.
Not
you can move up and down and left and
But
right.
so because it's supposed to be multiplayer, you basically have this compromised camera angle the whole time, so that you can see everyone on screen at once. So when you're playing solo, it's just not as good feeling as any other Mario game.
It has a strange feel.
It has a strange feel to it. Like the buttons feel weird. Like you can't like hop jump where you like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, you only 1, 2, right?
You can't punch. You can only jump, but it's 3D, so you feel like you should be able to punch.
Can you even butt slam?
Yeah.
You can butt slam.
But I haven't found a use for it.
Yeah. I also felt like that game starts off on the wrong foot. I felt like the first level is boring. Like, I don't know if you play that first level, you just kind of run through the tubes and you climb
the
through the
other
wall.
thing is that you basically need a cat suit for the game.
Yeah, almost every level, because there's always going to be hidden things that cat suit allows you to climb up walls.
Okay.
And unless you have a cat suit, you can't climb up walls. So.
But I did this part today where there's these platforms that like rise up and down, but they're too high for you to reach by jumping, but there's no things to climb up around you. And there's a wall where you can like angle jump, but it's 3D, so it's not like you can just pop up. You have to like guess your angles to go around this way and back. And it was like the most frustrating thing. I did it, but so there's some design things about it. I think their design compromises because of the multiplayer aspect of the game.
Yeah.
But that being said, I'll probably finish it this weekend or something. It's pretty. It's still a Mario game. Like it's still fun.
It's a great game. I am disappointed that to 100% it, you have to beat it with all 4 playable characters because they really tried pushing that multiplayer aspect. And that unlocks a 5th playable character, which then you need to beat the game with again, and then that unlocks the final
That's
world.
how they encourage you to keep going back and playing it again.
Yeah, but see,
it's just
the game is long a little bit, and it's
like 20, 30 hours. Oh, maybe not 20, probably 12 though.
So
hours. It's not short.
And I get because if you were playing multiplayer, you could do it all at once, beating the game with all 4 characters.
And they all would have to get the top flag too. It's not even just like a matter of like you'd have to have 4 good Mario players playing together, like your kid sister.
Everyone has to get the top flag?
Yeah, it's like the same as 3D Land, where Mario and Luigi both need to get all the coins plus the top flag to get the extra world.
Do they have to get all the stars?
Yeah.
I'm gonna look into that. That sounds
I
like
think
I feel
that's
like
true.
that can't be true.
Because I remember reading about it and just being like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's cool, but it's like nobody has the time for that. You know, like. I guess people do. You know, you're a kid. That's all you want to do every day. But
I was gonna say it's still pretty fun. It's like Mario. It's randomly got really fun. I mean, Mario always has great music in its own quirky way. The theme song is super infectious and is also very similar to music from the first Lunar game, the world map music. It's pretty much the same theme. And then also the Boo houses have this like really dramatic JRPG music. It's like
it'd be awesome if there was J-pop in a Mario. I mean, it wouldn't be awesome. It'd be terrible, but it'd be really funny if some Mario game in the future has like a J-pop section. Like, I don't know if you guys watched or played Xenoblade Chronicles X, but just to diverge real quick, they had this thing that I watched a Twitch streamer play it, and I couldn't get into it just because of this, but they had J-pop with vocals playing while a cutscene with actual dialogue that was voiced was going on. You're like,
dude, that's my least favorite trend in JRPGs these days is like vocal music.
It's
I
hard
loved
to
it.
do.
I loved like the cheesy like songs at the end of Final Fantasy games. Those were great and amazing. But like Melodies of Life or Eyes on Me, that kind of stuff, or Suit Kidney, the non-English one.
It
It was
is.
in,
The Final Fantasy 13 games, they did that a lot.
I think that's Kiss Me Goodbye, or is that 12?
I think 12 was Kiss Me Goodbye. I
No,
actually
they
didn't beat
they
13.
did it in 13 a lot. It was one of the main my main criticism of 13.
Music or just the game as a whole?
The game as a whole is getting taken right out of the moment when they have really cool melodies and music, and then all of a sudden someone starts singing.
Yeah, I don't know why people do that.
Yeah, there is one game that does it that I like, which is Blue Dragon.
They do it's okay.
It's only in boss fights,
Okay.
and it's the dude from Deep Purple singing. So it's like this old like rock singer, and it's like an epic fight music. So it's fun.
I feel like there is maybe not vocals, but there's really big like choral music that you need to focus on, and a lot of the Final Fantasy that works well.
Yeah. But it's the
when
J.
it's
like that poppy Japanese.
Yeah, like I remember in 13 when it's like you're in this cool wilderness and you hear the main theme, the da na 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 da, but then it's like
And then
some
the part I
girl
was
starts
thinking of. I was
singing.
thinking that
Some girl
exact
starts
part.
singing about rainbows, like
Yeah.
"Take me to the rainbow," and it's like bad lyrics or something like that.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Da, da,
That was
And it's
exact,
like
yeah.
it's such a cool like like when you turn on Final Fantasy 13, I love that piano theme when it like pops up on the title screen, but it's like the lyrics are so bad. And it's just like dumb. But that was my that's like the main reason that I will probably never even try Xenoblade Chronicles X is that they took out the best part of Xenoblade, which was the people that did the music.
Yeah.
Yoko Shimomura and then Mitsuda.
Yeah, I wonder if they're gonna bring it back for the.
I think they are.
Speaking of which, do you guys need a break?
No.
I mean, I need to.
Okay, I guess for technical reasons, we'll take a quick break, but we're going to be continuing back talking about Nintendo. So this seems like a good time as ever.
Okay.
Badooch!
Hey everyone, if you're in the Southern California area and are looking for the best way to improve your home, look no further than adding some always green synthetic grass today. Whether it's creating that awesome backyard that's kid and pet friendly, or that putting green to work on your golf game, Always Green provides installation and landscaping with only American-made products, such as their famous synthetic turf with advanced drainage technology and backed by a 15-year warranty that will have your yard looking great for a very long time. Always Green also installs retaining walls, custom lighting and driveways, and the most beautiful stone walkways, so if you live in the Southern California area, what are you waiting for? Financing is also available, so call for a free estimate today. 714-614-7814. That's 714-614-7814. Or stop by their store at 16772 Wanda Circle in Huntington Beach and get your home looking great with Always Green synthetic turf and putting greens. A proud sponsor of Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanican Media, and the PCC Multiverse channels.
Well, here we are back now after we just all went to the restroom at the same time. Anyways, we are back talking about Nintendo, our favorite topic, that and the Tales series, the things we love the most here on Super BS. There's some Nintendo stuff I want to bring up real quick. I guess they finally acknowledged the left Joy-Con issue as being, I think it's called a manufacturer variance. So they're not saying it's like a defect, but I guess if you want to send your Joy-Con in, they'll fix it.
What is that?
So what it is was they didn't make like the spool long enough at the end, so it's not connecting to the Bluetooth. So literally I've seen the ones that they fixed and they just put like this rubber thing on it so it picks up the signal. But what it was like they didn't make the save money. They didn't make like
all the people that are having this issue, what are they?
Which is myself included.
Yourself. Do you have to send it back, or do you take it to like a local game store?
No, yeah, it kind of sucks. You need to send it to Nintendo. You just need to send the Joy-Con, but that means like say you want to take it into table or handheld mode. You don't have it. You can't play handheld mode. So it takes about 2 weeks. So I'm going to wait for the Joy-Cons to go on sale. Just buy a second set when it's like $50 or some reasonable price for two of them. And then send them in because you get a full year warranty at least. Okay. So, but yeah, there was actually some cool Nintendo news. Want to take it away, Donna?
Yeah. Nintendo news that was cool this week. The Mana series collection.
Yeah, second Itsutsu.
For Switch, which is in Japan, has the first 3 games. It's weird. So it has the Game Boy version
the Final Fantasy
of
Adventure.
Final Fantasy Adventure or Secret of Mana.
Yeah. I wish they would have done the PS Vita one that they released last year,
These
but I know.
are Final Fantasy titles?
No.
So let me back
explain
this
it,
up.
yeah.
So there's a Square has a handful of series that are fairly old that are not Final Fantasy. There's Final Fantasy is one of their flagships. Now that they're Square Enix, they have Dragon Quest, of course, which is very old. But there's the Mana series. There's also the Saga series, and there's the Chrono series, which hopefully they never do anything with because
Chrono Trigger, right?
Yeah, Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross.
I played Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger is amazing.
Chrono Trigger is amazing.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best.
It's one of the best games ever.
RPGs
But so Secret of Mana is another series that's made by I think it's Ito is the guy that directs that one.
I don't
or
know.
invented that one, created that one.
You didn't play it on PlayStation? They had a really cool
I played
art
it.
style one. They had one Legend of Mana on PlayStation. They had 2 that I never played on PlayStation 2. They had 2 3DS ones. One was like a dungeon crawler, and one was a strategy game, and then they had this original trilogy that.
So it's its own unique world setting. It's different than Final Fantasy, where Final Fantasy every game has its own world setting. This has a consistent mythos.
Okay.
The mana tree is that. There's the mana goddess. There's the mana sword, and then there's the elemental spirits. So there's like very nature-oriented mythos, which
And
I guess every Final Fantasy game is a nature-oriented mythos too.
And
but
it's also an action RPG.
sometimes, most of the times.
I would say till the PlayStation 2 DS era, they were all
Yeah.
action
Is it
RPGs.
turn-based?
No.
Action RPGs.
Yeah.
So that's that.
So they're kind of like the first couple are Legend of Zelda-esque.
Yeah.
But with
leveling.
up and stuff.
They're great.
So they've remade. So when they ported Secret of Mana to the U.S., they called it Final Fantasy Adventure on the Game Boy.
You mean Second Densetsu? Because
Well, that's what Second Densetsu means or whatever.
Because I thought Second Densetsu 2 was Secret of Mana. That's what we know. So
Yeah.
So I thought I didn't know what it meant. Does it mean mana even?
I think so.
Okay, because I know why they call it Final Fantasy Adventure, and you can explain that.
Yeah,
But
they just called it that because they figured it would sell better because it's a more recognizable brand.
nobody
But
knows
it became
Second Densetsu.
it has its own sequel on Super Nintendo called Secret of Mana, Second Densetsu 2.
Yeah.
But we have it as Secret of Mana.
Here.
But it's completely unrelated.
Unrelated,
Okay.
yeah. Unrelated.
Yeah,
at
they're
all.
like
There's
Final
also there's actually because the other 3 Final Fantasy Legend 1, 2, and 3 games on Game Boy are part of the Saga series, which is another completely different franchise that Square has. So this is a collection of the first 3 games. Now they've remade the first Secret of Mana game many times. There's the reimagining, which is Sword of Mana, which is awesome to me. Then there's the literal remake, which was just
last year.
yeah. They called it Final Fantasy Adventure again, right?
I thought they called it Sword of Mana? Or no, that was the Game Boy Advance one?
Oh, Adventure of Mana.
Adventure of Mana, okay, yeah. Which, it's hard, but they're all
Yeah.
just remakes of the first game.
Anyway.
The second one's never been remade, though.
Yeah, the second one is incredible. Secret of Mana is one of my favorite games. I used to rent all the time when I was 4 and 5.
3-player co-op. One of the very few games
On
you had to
Super
buy
Nintendo.
the multi-tap
Like
on Super
that.
Nintendo, yeah.
And then Secret of Mana 3,
Never came here.
which never was released in America, unfortunately, but that game has like multiple characters to choose from with all their own adventures and stuff like that. So it's like
It was really ahead of its time.
really ahead of its time. So hopefully they're releasing a collection for it. Hopefully they put it out in the US.
Localized.
And hopefully they localize Secret of Mana 3. Now there's a fan localization that's been around forever that's supposed to be pretty good. I think I've played through a good half of the Warriors story in that game, and it's awesome. Music's great. Just the guy that does the music for most of the Mana games. Oh man, I cannot remember his name. I think it starts with a K or an H or something like that. I should look these names up.
But it's coming out. It's in Japanese. However, because Nintendo's Switch is region free, anyone can pick it up. So you can get it here. But until it's localized, it's in Japanese, so you won't know.
So is it remastered or is it just like
just
old edition?
straight original,
Okay.
which is The hardest pill to swallow for a lot of people, however, these games are so good, I actually don't think it's that big of a deal, is they're releasing them at about $50. So these are 3 games, 2 Super Nintendo, 1 Game Boy game. They're selling for $50.
Jeez.
So it's very pricey. If they localize 3, I think it would be worth it in a minute because that game's never come here.
Yeah.
And it's like he mentioned, there's a choice of up to six people. You can make a party of 3 who you play as, starts your adventure. There's different endings for every group. Like there was nothing like it at the time.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this is pretty much like something that I don't even think they really started doing until the PlayStation era. Like, I can't think of other games that have like that much choice. Because they weren't, games back at that time didn't have character creation and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But is there anything else that you wanted to add to it, John?
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. I really hope that makes it out here. They localized Mother.
Yeah, that could make it. If Mother Earthbound 1, Earthbound Beginnings, it was originally Mother in Japan.
So they did
Earthbound,
that.
what series is that? That's
Earthbound is a Super Nintendo RPG, and before that...
There's a regular Nintendo game.
Earthbound's a little bit confusing, because
they're all confusing.
because
there were... confusing. So.
Yeah, because Earthbound Beginnings was a Nintendo game. Earthbound that we got on Super Nintendo was actually a Nintendo game that got ported over. That's why it looks so strange, but whatever. I mean, that's a great series.
But yeah, so they like officially translated and ported that game, a regular Nintendo game, like 2 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, so they may do it.
So they could do it.
Yeah.
Like, that would be amazing. Amazing stroke of goodwill, because I would probably purchase a Switch like as soon as that was coming out. I mean, because I will get one, but that would be a system seller for me in the near future. Would be the Mana Collection.
Yeah.
And then the other Nintendo news I think is pretty awesome this week is Radiant Historia remake.
Yeah, sadly coming to the 3DS. Again, if I were Nintendo, I'd be like, we will pay for you to put it on the Switch. We will pay whatever the development cost is. We'll have our own team put games on the Switch. Stop putting games on this dying platform. But anyways, talk about the game. The game is...
I'm really frustrated. The more that I think about it, I am frustrated that it's on the 3DS and not on the Switch.
DS, and the 3DS is backwards compatible. Like, why are you doing that?
So why, from a business point of view, why do you think they are doing
I don't
this?
think they made many prints of the DS one. So I think the biggest reason is they're just selling.
It was a game that came out and
At the end of the
ended up
DS.
being really highly rated, and then you couldn't get it, and then they did a second run of it.
And then it sold out, I think.
And then it sold out again, yeah.
It's a weird thing because they released it at the end of the DS life, and it looks, I'm hoping, the end of the 3DS life, they're re-releasing it. So it's like, what are you guys doing? But that was really cool news that came out, but it brings me to a point I kind of want to talk about today. 2 things that have been a little bit bothering me about the Nintendo Switch.
So before we do that,
sorry,
let me talk about Radiant
Oh yeah,
Historia.
we didn't even talk about the game. Sorry.
It is one of my favorite games of the last decade, maybe. Like
it's awesome.
It's got music from Yoko
Shimomura or whatever?
Shimomura, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Who did Legend of Mana, who's in Kingdom Hearts, was in Xenoblade.
Okay.
Fortunately, too, this is less of her Kingdom Hearts kind of music.
I
Final
like
Fantasy 15.
Kingdom Hearts music.
Yeah, but Kingdom Hearts music is great, except for when it's all like, funny, fun.
Oh
Disney
yeah, that's
songs.
stupid. When they did the Disney things, those were terrible.
Yeah,
but...
so the main themes of Kingdom Hearts are great. But this is more like her Legend of Mana work or her Xenoblade work, that kind of stuff. Or Final Fantasy 15, which she also did.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So the music is incredible. I used to have the main theme set as my alarm every morning. Yeah. The story involves time travel, little elements of choice. It's a really addicting combat system. It's like a grid-based, kind of like, not strategy grid-based in the same way that like a strategy would be.
It's a turn-based RPG.
Okay. Yeah. But it's like a turn-based RPG. It's got really memorable characters, and you kind of do this thing where there's 2 timelines that happen, and you can travel back in time and fill up like holes in events and stuff like that to reach like the complete ending, and it's really fun.
And you kind of have to, just to give an example, like I didn't get very far, but there's a point where you need to know how to do this sword trick. That's actually, you can only learn from the other timeline. So you jump in that other timeline, you keep completing stuff. It allows you to unlock the next step in the future. So it's cool.
It's all time travel?
Well, you had two choices at the beginning. You choose one or the other, and then it's kind of like how your life would have changed. So.
And then you go back, and you can always skip scenes that you've already watched, which is great. But you'll like gain abilities from doing certain things in one timeline that you need to like blow up a wall in a previous timeline.
Yeah.
So it's like, or not a previous, in the other timeline. Yeah. So it's really cool.
You have to go back and play the other timeline.
You can. I think you can go. My understanding is that you can beat the game on a singular timeline and get like the half ending. I just found the game to be so incredible that I just did the whole thing. The whole game has got like a really somber feel to it. Like starts off pretty heavy, stays pretty heavy the whole time, which is kind of fun. It's just like it has a very unified aesthetic feel to it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it was. I didn't get to beat it. It came out on like a
there's no
weird time.
There's no Tales style characters. There's not like a slutty witch somewhere, or
well, I wish there were more slutty witches.
We need more slutty witches.
Or like
How many Tales games are you buying now that you got PS4? We forgot to ask. Like, are you buying the whole series?
I mean, how many Tales games am I not buying?
Zestiria. What's the new one called?
Playing all the backwards compatible PlayStation 3 ones, or
those that you got. How many PS Now accounts have you registered? Huh?
At least 3.
It's such a discount. Only $20 a month. You can stream PS3 games, man. But no, I actually wanted to talk about 2 Nintendo Switch things and get your guys' opinion. There have been 2 news stories. Oh, is there something that you want
real quick? When is it going to be available? Because I went and tried to look for one this week.
Actually, today. They said at GameStop today they'll have it, but
I called GameStop though, and they either the ones that did have it sold out really quick, and the ones that don't have it, so you can order it from their warehouse.
The $5.99
but
one.
you have to pay $600 for it.
Yeah, to get the bundle. No, that's stupid. Yeah, don't do that.
Anytime a new console comes out, like Best Buy, like when I worked at Best Buy, they were notorious for this. You can only buy the console if you bought a crap load of accessories and games to go with it. Like that's robbery. It's just.
Well, if Nintendo Switch...
Is GameStop opening their Switches and selling them used for regular price?
That would be awesome.
Surprise me at all.
Yeah, I actually was in a GameStop yesterday. I was trying to find the carrying case for it because I feel uncomfortable not having it because it's a very easy system console to damage. Soon enough, I think it'll be easy.
They said they didn't have any. They only had used carrying cases.
Used carrying cases. They were $30 instead of the $15. No, it's one of those things. I think at some point Switch will become readily available. Like they bumped up their production this year from like 8 million to 16 million, and that's with the fact that there really is only one game worth buying it for. Now, it's a system that has changed the way I want to play games. Like I hate the idea of like, oh, I'm playing Mass Effect. I now need to go out. I can't bring it with me. Like, it is cool, like, hey, I'm going to go somewhere tonight. What if we end up watching a movie I've seen like 15 times?
Yeah.
Throw my Switch in my backpack. So it is a great console, but, I mean, it brings up to the 2 points that I have that make, the 2 problems I have that I think are going to make it easy to find very, very soon whenever they start really pumping them out is, 1, there are still not a lot of games on it. It's just, they've filled up, every week they've released 3 or 4, but they're just still like indie games. And a lot of them are indie games from 4 to 10 years ago. I think the biggest one they released was Binding of Isaac Afterbirth, which I've heard is excellent, and it's got 2-player co-op built in, so you can just like pull off the Joy-Cons and play it.
Yeah.
But so that's a problem. And the next new game they have, and they've not talked about Virtual Console or anything else, is Mario Kart, and that's not even new; it's a port. But that's April 28th. And then the second problem that I've noticed that is kind of bothering me is there seems to be a Nintendo Switch tax that is coming onto a lot of games where I've noticed this trend with a game called Rhyme that kind of looked cool, but I might not pick up anymore because I like playing on Switch, but it's $10 more on Switch for no reason because I don't know if they think because the value of being able to have a portable and console is worth the $10 or what their deal is, but that's not the only game. I can't remember the other one I saw, but there are several games coming out at different price points for Switch. And when you're essentially getting an underpowered version of the game with frame rate issues, it is disappointing to think, oh, I'm paying $10 for the privilege of having this here. Like it is, I'm already sacrificing having the best version of the game. And there still aren't things like achievements and other things that are fun little additions that they decided not
That's
to.
actually crazy that there's still no like achievement system in Nintendo.
It's such a small thing that makes so much fun. Like I want 100% Breath of the Wild, but I think that I'm like, why did I do
little
it?
pop-ups on the screen when you do stuff?
It's fun.
That's
You don't
cool.
enjoy. No,
No,
there are,
I like achievements.
but there are no achievements.
Oh,
in the
there's no
Switch.
achievements.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Like I wish Breath of the Wild did that.
Gotcha.
But because it doesn't, I will play it till I'm finished with it and then be done. Like somebody got all of these seeds that are impossible to find, 900 of them in the game, and there's like nothing. I mean, there's nothing. You know,
What do you
yes,
get
you
for
got
it?
900. Actually, in that specific case, it was golden poop. But yeah, spoilers. Sorry guys, but
Golden Poop.
yeah, golden poop. But yeah, I was just curious what you guys think of that. Like that idea where you're like Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. That's a $40 game. That game came out. I think it's $20 on Xbox. Like that's a lot of money for a game that's 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah, I would rather play it on the Xbox and have it be cheaper because mostly because I don't have a Switch. But
Yeah, but I think once you get a Switch and you fork out the $80 for the Pro Controller, you'll find that like the Pro Controller, thankfully they mimic the Xbox. It's a really, really excellent controller. I do want to buy games on it. I want to be able to do like, oh, hey, I got to go to the doctor's appointment today. Okay, well, I'm having a lot of fun playing this console level game. Let me just take it along with me on the road.
So what's the have you tested the battery life on there? What's it?
I've gotten more than 2 hours, but I've never actually used it for the full thing. I'm still super careful. I actually just bought a cozy, like a dock cozy online, because I don't know if you heard, but the screens have been getting scratched with if you put it in the dock, which is another crazy thing. But I don't want to spend all of our time talking about this. So I'm just curious what you guys think about that value-added tax and the game lineup. We talked about this a lot, but like there are cool things like the second Itsetsu thing that we talked about. And the fact is, E3's around the corner. Hopefully we're going to get a really good virtual console. But I'm just curious what you guys think about it right now, as it being 2 weeks after launch.
It's interesting. I'm looking forward to having one eventually. I'm still like nervous about the lineup.
Yeah,
I'm still nervous about like the overall, like I don't know, like if it's gonna be worth it in the end, if it's gonna be like the Wii U,
yeah,
which I still play, but I wish I didn't.
yeah.
Where it's just like I want the virtual console, like
Yeah.
I want like I would be fine with my Wii U had their virtual console act got together, like like had I been able to do something with that. Then the Wii would have been a really successful system to me, but because there was nothing on the virtual console.
Well, they're releasing games now still.
Yeah.
They just released something last week. I forgot what it was.
And also just a handful of like really worthwhile games.
Yeah. It's a hard thing to stand behind.
Yeah, it's a really hard thing to stand behind. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to getting it. I still haven't decided if I'm just going to buy Breath of the Wild on the Wii U.
Yeah. I would wait till you feel like you need to play it and then see if you're ready to switch at that point, because I have to say I've been in positions where like I needed to do stuff outside, and I played Breath of the Wild probably for 10, 15 hours on the go. Like I don't know exactly your guys' position, but we have one TV in my household that my wife will use, and so I will play the handheld when she's watching her shows. And there's a lot of cool things, and it actually is fairly comfortable. So
I mean, it looks cool. The Wii U, I remember, is like super bulky.
Yeah. The Wii U, if the Wii U would have done what this did, I think it would have even been easier to stand behind. Like if it would have actually been a portable, instead of like, you can make a Wii U a portable, you bring the box that comes with it, and a power supply, and the gamepad, and you can take it on an airplane. But people have done that. But that's crazy, But anyways, think about things that we can't stand behind or we're interested in talking about. Is there anything you guys want to talk about Xbox this week or Mass Effect or anything before we talk about our kind of biggest topic?
Yeah, I have one topic. So I went to GameStop the night before Mass Effect came out, and I waited in line to get the game. It's like 8 o'clock, so they were doing a 9 o'clock release, and I
don't like those digital games, huh?
Yeah, there was hardly anybody in line. So I'm wondering, I'm sitting here like, this is proof that the release of digital content is killing retail.
GameStop is having a crazy year. They're closing down, like the one in South
Probably
Plaza.
good, so.
Yeah, but I mean, let me ask you guys this though. Like, do you think that it's also going to start like decaying this subculture of gamers? How we like to get together and do things and talk about.
There's still comic shops.
Yeah.
Like there are still things. They may have gotten rid of the majority, but there will always be hobbyist shops.
Yeah.
There's always going to be some guy who's going to still sell stuff.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, it might be good. I mean, this is like the kind of thing that I think Microsoft was ahead of the game on with their original vision for the Xbox One, which infuriated everyone.
Yeah, it was crazy.
All digital.
All digital, but also like share games with up to 10 people, like, you know, all that kind of stuff where it's like, you know, you and 9 other people could buy one game and all play it.
Yeah, that's
where it's like
such a cool idea.
Yeah, and everyone hated it, and then now like
Sony did something similar, and everybody's like, "Oh man, it's the coolest thing ever." They did like a share play that allows you to share like the content of your game with someone else for 15 minutes, and everybody's like, "Whoa, this is the coolest thing ever!" And then nobody ever talked about it ever again because they realized, "Oh, it's 15 minutes. It's not even like a great idea." So
yeah, but anyway,
sorry.
So, I mean, I think part of the problem is GameStop is a company that should probably go down because has terrible business practices.
Yeah.
They took out the mom and pop shops, man. I remember going to Games for Less when I was a kid, or all the small local game stores. You know, like they sadly, like Walmart did to all the mom and pops. Walmart's kind of in a lot of places disappearing because Amazon is beating them out.
Did GameStop buy
EB Games? They bought EB and Electronic Protein.
They bought Babbage's or whatever it was called.
Because I remember
there was the South Coast, the video game store at South Coast was called Software Etc. when I was a kid.
That was cool.
And I used to like talk to the owner, or not the owner, like the manager there, and he used to like, it just felt different.
Yeah, it was cool.
Because you didn't have the internet too as accessibly to like know everything.
Yeah.
So he'd be like I remember when Final Fantasy Tactics was out of print.
Oh wow, that game was awesome.
And you couldn't get it, and then he's like, hey, I found out they're gonna do like a greatest hits run, like. Yeah. I'll save a copy for you, and it just felt cool.
Yeah.
More personable.
But, I mean, it's like, and I remember, I think the last time I went to a midnight game release where I actually was like, excited was Final Fantasy 12.
Oh, I remember we went to that together. I did do the Switch one not too long ago, but that was just because like a buddy, I was super amped. He's like, hey, let's do it. But yeah, I totally agree. I also think it's, you know, they weren't as pushy at those stores to buy stuff, and maybe that was to their detriment, but I was happier to go in there. I didn't feel like every time I went there, it was like, hey, do you want to pre-order this or buy this used accessory or this other thing? And I'm like,
about that. They're all business oriented. They don't even want to talk to you about the games you like. They just want to sell you stuff.
Yeah, and it's a bummer. And the people who do want to talk to you, because I have walked into GameStops when my wife's shopping, just kind of like hang out and talk, they normally get fired because they want people who are like pushing product. And like I've had them, when I picked up my Switch, I had the guy who was actually like, angry at me. He's like, you're not the type of customer I like dealing with. Was literally what he said to me. Because he doesn't want somebody, I didn't pre-order anything but the Switch. And he's like, sure you don't want the accessories? We need to get people to pre-order accessories so we can get more of them. It's like, at that time I was just pre-ordering a Switch, so I'm like, I don't even know if I'm keeping this thing yet, man. Like, I don't want to keep, doubling down, and I found the accessories I wanted.
He literally said you're not the type of customer.
Yeah, he's like, okay, yeah. And I've ran into him since then, and he was more friendly, because that's where I went to look for the carrying case again, because it's near the Target, my house. But the idea still is, though, like, they have, we talked about it recently, the Circle of Life, they have to sell a certain amount of stuff, and I'm sure for him it, like, reflects poorly that I'm not pre-ordering accessories,
That's one thing I hate. Another thing I hate about GameStop is it might as well be a hot topic now. Have you been into
the Funkos?
Recently?
Oh, they're terrible.
All the Funkos and the T-shirts and like the action figures, like it's they're desperate. Like they're desperately clinging, trying to find a market for them to justify keeping their stores open.
Well, they started that game publication thing, where they made that game, but it's such a strange gray area. Well, not even gray. It's a weird area because they own a magazine that reviews games, Game Informer, and they now own or are like publishing games. So like I don't know if you guys noticed, but their game Deep Sea or Under the Sea or whatever it came out last year during the summer, it got like a 7.5 in Game Informer. I'm just curious, like. I'm wondering, like,
what did it give everybody else?
Well, no, it got the same reviews. It's not supposed to be a bad game, but it's just like one of those things where I'm like, because it was by Insomniac. They're like pretty good developers. I'm just like wondering, like, did they like fire that guy? Like you have to wonder. But yeah, there was actually kind of even a bigger topic than. One more thing. You want to bring up another thing?
We got to take a break real quick.
Okay.
All right.
Okie doke.
If you're tired of sifting through flea markets for rare and unique games, we can help. Retro City Games in Henderson, Nevada, only 5 minutes from the Las Vegas Strip, has all your favorite gaming staples, classics, and a wide selection of rare games with new stuff always appearing on our shelves. Come in and chat with Nicole or Doug about your love of games and watch as they help you complete your collection or find your childhood favorite. And don't forget, Retro City Games loves trade-ins. So if you have any Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega, Xbox, PlayStation, or even PC games, come in and visit Retro City Games today. Welcome to the new metropolis of gaming, Retro City Games. Oh, yeah.
Anyways, so we are back, and kind of like, I think not the last time we spoke, but the time before, we were talking about PewDiePie and his recent jokes. Donna, I've heard something about JonTron recently that happened.
Oh yeah, that he's not funny.
That's not. That's crazy, man. Like, everybody knew he's like the funniest guy.
I think I expressed the same thing when we talked about PewDiePie, that
Yeah.
I just don't get it. It's
Yeah.
like the epitome of amateur, like so random humor.
Yeah.
And it's like so bad.
Well, he's got what 100 million
It's
people, and they're all kids.
It's
probably.
like everyone, like maybe 5 years younger than us, like watched The Office when they were in high school and thought that like Jim pointing out everything and being like, "What?"
Yeah,
like,
was the
was
funny
like the
part?
funniest thing.
It's
So
funny
everyone
how a lot of
does
people
it.
base their personalities off of Jim too.
So it's
Yeah.
like, but now it's like this like cartoon version of that where it's like, oh, I'm playing this game. What does that even mean? It's like almost like Seth Rogen like doing his constant like I feel like Seth Rogen's entire humor is just like, whoa, wait a minute, you just went there, and that's all. He's like you just kissed that guy. Like that's like Seth Rogen jokes.
Now,
Like
if somebody walks up to him, dumps pie on his head, I'm all for that.
dumps a pie
You
on
just
his
went
head,
there,
he's
bam.
like, whoa, you just like committed to that. You like dumped that pie on my head. It's my Seth Rogen impression.
That is spot on. Wait, was Seth here? Donna, welcome back.
Hey, Seth, come back, man.
Guys, that's me. But
Anyways.
so I remember the first time someone showed me JonTron, and I was just like, I don't get this. This is so dumb.
Yeah.
But he, whatever his name is,
Jafari something.
I
I
thought
know
his
it's
last name
John
was
Jafari.
Jafari.
Maybe it's John Jafari then.
John Jafari.
I don't know. It's
Well, he's
Jafari
gonna-
something.
He's
He's Jafar from Aladdin.
he's about to go off on a safari of being ostracized, but.
Yeah, man, he is literally like Jafar from Aladdin right now.
But yeah, so he made some claims, some very like alt-right sounding claims about like white people being like
Persecuted or
persecuted. I don't know. Like I mean, I read them all, and it just seemed like the normal, like totally inane, like batshit crazy stuff that people like love to like buy into, like really fearful sounding things. But anyway, it's led to like people like no longer liking him.
Yep.
And it's led to today him being removed from Ukulele.
Yeah, he was a voice actor.
He was a voice actor in Ukulele, which
Oh.
I'm sorry that he had to say weird, racist, bizarre things for this to happen. But I'm very happy that
He's
been
not
removed
voice.
from Ukulele. I think that it's a weird point where, we live in a culture that's like, especially like on the internet, where everything is like tolerant unless you're intolerant, then we're intolerant of you kind of thing. And it's like, I mean, it's like a living South Park episode.
That camp of intolerance.
And I mean that whole like aggressive, like militant tolerance, like intolerance towards intolerant people, like it's gonna eat itself alive because things like this are gonna happen. Whereas this guy, seems just like an immature doofus.
Yeah,
there's
probably 22.
Yeah,
dumb
I don't know how
stuff
old
that
he is,
he
but-
probably should not have said.
Yeah, should not have said. And he'll probably, if he's really that young, he'll probably grow out of it.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe,
He
maybe not.
He could be our age, but he lives in a different world than we could understand because he's had 100 million people paying for him to say whatever he wants for, years. So.
But, it's going to be one of those things where it's just like a YouTube comment war where like some white knight of YouTube is going to be like, guys, this is what really happened and this is this, like...
We're talking literal white
Yeah,
people?
no. And it's going to be like a constant battle of like, is this censorship or is it... No, it's not. He's not being censored. He's just, no one likes him anymore. But either way, what's funny is because he's a unique case, but then there's Colin Moriarty as well.
Yeah. See, Colin Moriarty, I was just about to jump into that. I'm actually writing an article about Colin Moriarty's situation right now. It's weird because what he said wasn't really his tweet.
Do you want to read his tweet?
Now, let me just, because you probably know, he's a liberal dude, right?
So he has a hybrid views where he takes everything that's good about conservatism and good about liberalism and mixes them together.
So the kind of people that will survive this crazy polarization that we have right now.
And so his tweet was on a day without a woman. It said, yes, silence.
Or peace and quiet.
Peace and quiet, hashtag a day without a woman. And then he tweeted again, something about people not being...
Yeah, he said his girlfriend was lying in bed and thought it was a funny joke. And I heard him on, I guess, Rubin Report, which is another male-centric thing. But, I mean, it's still... They were talking about, like, how... Yeah, he checked it with his girlfriend first if he could post that. Before, like... You know, he didn't want to be, like, from what I understand, like, totally insensitive. But... You know, I mean, whatever. Continue with what you're talking about. I'm going to find the tweet.
So Colin Moriarty's on Kind of Funny. He worked for IGN for a while, but
yeah.
we've reached this sad point in history where we can literally use the internet to destroy somebody's life.
Yeah.
And like what he said, he shouldn't have said it, but it wasn't offensive. It wasn't like.
It wasn't. You can't say it wasn't offensive because it didn't offend us.
It
but
depends on what's your definition of offensive.
It was a joke, though. Is the thing?
It wasn't funny. It wasn't even original, but it wasn't as bad as everyone is making out to be. Like the International Business Times wrote a piece on it that said Colin Moriarty leaves Kind of Funny over racist, sexist jokes.
Yeah, it said racist, which is crazy.
What?
And Joe Rogan picked apart that where it's like it's not a racist thing at all. It's sexist.
The female race.
Oh, here's the actual text. It just says, peace and quiet. Hashtag a day without a woman. And then
so stupid.
The next following text was, she's actually in bed next to me. Oh, so somebody wrote, you might get a slap on the wrist from Aaron, but you get a thumbs up from me. Some guy wrote back. He's like, she's actually in bed next to me and thinks my blatantly obvious joke is funny. And this is where I think he really got himself in trouble. Because not all people are humorless sacks of shit. Which I think was actually funnier than the other thing he said, but he was attacking a large group of people.
All these people that are attacking him, like my biggest problem here is what right do all these YouTubers and video game journals have to attack him when they basically make their living off of reviewing simulated death?
Yeah, over and over and over again. Or a good example would be Kind of Funny, from what I understand, didn't stand by him, and not only that, but they kind of maybe asked him to leave. There's some stuff we don't know because we're not part of them.
Yeah, but it could have just been out of fear of what's going to happen.
The retaliation.
Because we live in a police state, literally, in some ways.
I mean, if you put yourself out there.
I mean, we don't. We're white dudes.
Kind of Funny slogan is sucking that, they have all these slogans that revolve around oral sex. Like how
they talk about that on the show. I listen to the show weekly.
What right
do
you have to say? But I mean, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Like there's the leading theory I've been reading a lot of the fan boards is that it was threatening their partnership with Rooster Teeth.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me. Rooster Teeth is huge. You know Rooster Teeth?
And they're like...
They do the Red vs. Blue Halo videos. They've been around for forever, and they are one of the largest podcasts around. And I don't know much about them, but I know that they are partners with Kind of Funny.
Like, politically, they're super outspoken. Like, they're liberal, and they've made it known. And they, even at the Kind of Funny Live, they have actually... put jabs at Colin for his beliefs.
Oh, really?
So, I can see that being an issue.
Well, in 50 years, when both all extremists eat themselves in this way, and then there's different extremists that exist, this will just look hilarious and stupid. I don't know if everyone at Kind of Funny was outraged with him, or if they were just fearing because
you don't want to lose your job.
We do live in that state where it's people get ostracized for just saying something, which shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But I also get
people have the right to do what they want, and
I mean, hey, I get it with JonTron. I'm not I
and
already
he attacked a ton of people.
Yeah, PewDiePie, they deserved what.
Well,
there's some things they shouldn't have done.
PewDiePie's gray area again too. I think again for me, it's hard for me to comment because I think he's so unfunny that he shouldn't be famous anyway.
Yeah.
So it's I kind of don't care. But with JonTron, it's I already think he's not funny.
Yeah. And then
so I have no impetus to listen to him. And then also crazy things just like whenever I hear like people just do that whole like white people are under attack kind of thing,
Yeah,
it's like
whatever.
I'm like, I just don't get it.
I talk with like a ton of people about this, and this is a sad view to have, but I always, because I'm around people and they'll be talking about politics, and I'm like, and I try to never show a political viewpoint, because what I always tell them is like, if I don't show a political viewpoint, I don't have to worry about getting in trouble or having these things. And it stinks to not be able to, because a lot of people, politics is everything. Yeah. Like a lot of people, politics is what they eat, breathe, sleep.
So
but
aggravating too.
Yeah. But for me, it's like, as somebody who doesn't care that much, I'm like, you know what? I don't really share my political beliefs or my politics at all, and I haven't had any problems. Real quick about what you guys both have been saying. There's another YouTube personality, and we're really getting to YouTube culture now, which is funny.
It's our favorite thing.
Our favorite thing. We got Tales for Syria and YouTubers.
Yes.
And so he's talking about Tales for Syria. No, his name's Boogie. I don't know if you know him. I showed Donna him earlier, and he's
seen Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, Nightmare Before. He's Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Boogie.
No, he's known for like.
That's when we know that GameStop has gone full Hot Topic when they have a
Nightmare
Before Christmas section.
And Boogie he was up for like the most important YouTuber personality, most important Boogie. But he actually talked about all three of these things: PewDiePie, Colin Moriarty, and JonTron on like his YouTube thing. And I listened to a little bit of it, and he spoke up defending Felix, saying like, yeah, it was a dumb joke, it was stupid, but yeah, we us the YouTube community wanted to defend him. And that's his own opinion. I really don't care. It was a stupid, not well-timed joke. It's not going to affect PewDiePie, so it doesn't really matter. About Colin Moriarty, he said, again, this was like a sexist joke. Like, it's not the end of the world. It was kind of dumb, but, like, I don't know if he should lose his job over it, which is kind of the stance I take. And then about JonTron, he said, I'm actually friends with this guy. So that's what he went off by starting. And, like, John is just, like, confused and trying to figure stuff out. And I don't know JonTron's backing, but anyways, Boogie was like, he's just still figuring stuff out. What the beliefs they expressed are not stuff that I personally share, but like that's just him going over it. But the biggest thing is, if JonTron is as young as I think he is, like early 20s, he's probably like when we were 20s, man. Yeah. And like even now, like there are times, we weren't maybe that dumb because I wasn't political at 20, but. About the humor stuff, I was irreverent, and I still am irreverent occasionally with friends. I would hate for the idea of like if I wasn't on film to be like lose my job over something else. Now, if you put yourself on film and put yourself out there, then the world has the right to make their own opinions about you. That's what all of these guys have decided to do.
Yeah, but at what point do we just shut up and let somebody else have an opinion about something without crucifying them for it?
I can do that. But can everybody? We can still have because here we all share our opinions, but none of us have went out and been like, I'm going to go and find their employers and then crucify them.
There are people on YouTube, though, that say and do things like 100 times more offensive.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They're not as popular as these people.
They're not as popular, but like it's the same principle.
I think the interesting thing with JonTron is that in my opinion, this might be the only one that's warranted, really. Because again, I think PewDiePie's joke was stupid.
Yeah.
But I also don't think he's funny, period. Same with Colin Moriarty. Like, that one to me is probably the most on the not very, like, injustice side of things. Yeah. But for JonTron, he expressed some pretty weird views that all have to do with essentially fear of equal representation. Yeah. Which is something which is as political as I will get, which is that I think there should be equal representation.
Yeah, there
so
should.
It's like, so just because there's more, like, people of different race or etc., like gender or sexuality and all that kind of stuff, like that can like be featured in games or featured like in the media, that doesn't make me as like a straight white dude fearful. Yeah. And so when I think someone expresses views that are derived from simply a fear of change in something that's pretty dang benign, if not good. Yeah. Like that to me is like, I don't really want anything to do with that dude, but I don't want anything to do with him anyway because it's not funny.
Yeah. and we do need to go soon, but I just, about JonTron's comment, there was something, I think this was before we started meeting and talking, there, you guys know Oculus Rift, there was the face of it, guy named Lucky Palmer, who supported alt-right groups with financially, and it was found out and blah blah stuff. And developers started pulling support for Oculus.
Did he support it with Oculus money?
Well, I assume the money he made from Oculus, yeah, because that's how he has money, you know. And it was one of those things where, for me, it sucks because they pulled support because they disagree with the guy. From all the people who, and this is different from JonTron's case because people actually lost, like the purchasers of Oculus lost content because people disagree with the face of Oculus. So,
That's so
we're just in like a weird cycle that we're still figuring out as like a group.
And at the end of the day, like I just want VR to go away so we can go back
Perfect.
to
Yeah, let's
we can just go back to making good games.
I was just hoping that all those developers would just pull support for VR totally, and then
Is
just
it
like.
a political thing? I thought they're just tired of.
I thought everyone just realized that VR was stupid.
I wish we could just get Gabe Newell out there to say the same political viewpoints, then no more VR.
Yeah.
It is weird though because the CEO of Marvel is actually giving money to Donald Trump. So, but
Oh, really?
there hasn't been a lot of
Weird.
flack from that. So
No flack?
I don't understand like
Where's the line?
where's the line? Yeah.
Here's like my political agenda in the games and media world is that I want to see VR defunded.
Yeah.
I want to see YouTube personalities defunded. I want to see Secret of Mana 3 translated into English.
And that is a
And
campaign.
I believe that there is a direct correlation between all of the stupid stuff of gaming culture going away.
Can we get a for president sign right into the sky? These are campaign issues that we can stand behind. Now, this
Erik
is
2020.
well, this has been a blast. We look forward to talking to you guys next week. We are Super BS. You can probably find us on whatever he decides to put behind me.
Yeah.
Badooch.
To us people that can feel things, it hurts.